how do you think that you said you're doing YouTube for 10 years now? How do you think YouTube has changed? I mean, obviously you have changed. You said you are less interested in guitar gear. I can double on that because it's the same thing. I've been working in this industry, guitar gear related, for 26 years now. So obviously, at some point you're like, NAMM comes around and they're coming out with all these things, and you're like, yeah, okay. Yep. You're not like, wow, NAMM, let's go. But just looking at YouTube, how do you think YouTube has changed, especially for content creators around gear in the past 10 years? Apart from the fact that it has been more dense because there's more people around than ever, but also not all of these really, they make it to the top, if there is a top, if we can speak about something that's called the top.
I think the biggest thing that you can see is that, like, just going back maybe 5 years, maybe even more, I could get a pedal and I could make a demo of it, and I would get 30,000 views pretty like easily. That is not happening anymore. Part of that is because there are more people doing those demos, and there are more pedals now than back then. But it seems like people, they want something more from the videos. They do check out like technical demos, but people seem to be more into like thematic stuff. Maybe that pedal put it into a context, and that's probably the thing that I'm struggling the most with, because I still want to do some gear that is sent to me. I need to do that to earn money. But I don't want to just make a regular demo, because then I know that they're paying a rather high price for it, and I might get 2,000 views. Of course, they can use that video forever to showcase how that pedal sounds, but I'm not like, I can't really say that I'm finding a new audience for them anymore, because that's something that I could like argue before when I was arguing for my price. So it's trying to put that gear into a context that is genuine, and that it's really fun, but also really hard sometimes, because you basically need to have a completely new idea every time, and that is really hard. So it feels now that us YouTubers, we are chasing the viewers a lot harder than before. And I think that's why you see a lot of YouTubers quit. Like, not only guitar YouTubers, but just a lot of YouTubers are completely burned out by doing it for a long time. I think YouTube has changed. Like, people talk about the algorithm all the time. I think that has changed. But also people who watch YouTube change. It's not easy to say whose fault it is, or if it's like necessarily a negative thing. Things just change, which can be it's a bit hard when it's your job to always change and always find the thing that is working. Yeah. So, but at least what I see, the thing that seems to be the trend is like guitar gear put into a context with people that they like to watch, and if they're good at playing guitar, that's also a huge plus. You see like Red Shull, Rick Beato, that pedal show, they're doing really good because they have likable people who plays really well, and they're able to put the gear into a context, which me as a consumer of videos, I'm like that also. Like I might check out a demo of some pedals if I'm really like interested, but usually I'm going for the videos where there's a context and there's a theme around the gear. Usually,
yeah, that's what I see. That's what I see a lot. As well, and it kind of goes along with something that. So a friend of mine is a media science person. He never studied it, but he got into it at some point. And now he's really good at it, and he's actually consulting for companies that want to be good in the media game. And he said to me at some point when he was looking at like guitar YouTube and he was looking at all the different content, at some point in the conversation, he told me, you know what I found out about all that stuff that you are working with and that you're looking at? And I said, oh, tell me. And he said, the educational stuff where gear is put into has a longer life, a longer, like cycle than somebody just putting something in there and say, that's the XYZ and it does that, and here's a sound, and here's my clean tone. And so apparently, yeah, you're right. Educational material has a longer cycle, longer period, because it engages in a different way. You're like, you're putting 4 delays, and what's the best 80s style delay? And then people stick to the end because like, oh, I really want to know which is the best 80s style delay.
Yeah,
and then
right.
You put products in there, yes. Yeah, okay, I agree. And we have scientific proof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that. And I've noticed also, Eirik, that you've done some videos where you purchase gear and you go after the tone of like famous guitar players that use the gear, like let's say Queen of the Stone Age. So you're buying like the 1 amp and then you're trying it out and you're seeing if you can replicate. Do you find that those kind of videos do really well on your channel compared to doing just like a straight up demo?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that is probably the types of videos that I enjoy the most doing as well. And there are so many factors to it. I think they enjoy it because it's interesting. They can tell that I'm really into it. And it's also really difficult with the YouTube guitar audience with like placing products that has been sent to me on the channel, which is very common on like every other tech channel or YouTube channel, but people are not a huge fan of that in the guitar community. I try to be very open about it, like this one is placed on the channel, I'm getting paid for it, and a lot of people are going like, nah, not that interested then. But with those videos, I'm buying everything myself. So it seems more genuine, and maybe it is as well. So yeah, those videos are very popular, and it's something that I like to watch myself as well.
Yeah.
I like tone chasing videos. I just find them super interesting. And it's never that I necessarily need to know how to make that sound, because I wouldn't use it necessarily myself. But I've been able to do it once, and I can move on, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like a challenge element to it, right? So I'm wondering, do you think it's possible for YouTube demos to kind of go with, like you were mentioning earlier, themes? Like, let's say, I don't know, a company sends you a pedal and they give you, free range to do whatever you want with it. Would you ever be inclined to say, okay, they sent me a clone type pedal, let's see if I can replicate like the top 5 songs that use a clone? Do you think a company would go with that, or they would go like, nah, I just want you to twist the knobs and show what it does?
Oh yeah, I've done that a lot of time. I bet I've even done exactly the video that you mentioned as an example.
I was just coming up with it.
Very possible.
Yeah. A lot of them are into that. I think there was a transition a few years back that most companies would be, we just want a demo. But now most of them are really tuned into what works on YouTube, and they would even suggest that. Yeah. So that's something that I've done a lot, but it's a bit different from pedal to pedal. Or with some gear, it works. But for example, a lot of the videos that I've done when I bought stuff, it's usually old, crappy gear, and it's a bit difficult to insert like a sponsored pedal into that video. But sometimes like with the Queens of the Stone Age, it could be me buying an old Ampeg amp, but I know that they used a Boss pedal to get that sound, and then I've talked to Boss and they've sent a pedal and they've sponsored the video. So it's absolutely possible to combine those two worlds. But I do in most cases feel most free to do whatever I want when I don't have any brand put into the videos. The best thing for me is really to make the videos that I want to do, and maybe if I need to get paid for, like, I buy stuff for those videos, to not lose money, I try to get a sponsor that is just something completely different, like a website thing, Squarespace or Skillshare or whatever. Then I think people can see the content as really genuine, and they can watch the ad for Squarespace if they want to, and they know that this doesn't have anything to do with the tone he's ending up with. It's just him getting paid. So yeah, that's a long answer to that, but I definitely do the thing that you talked about. But right now I feel that like it is a bit difficult because I've done it too much. So I'm not sure how I could come up with any good ideas like that anymore, because I've done it a lot, actually.